Good morning, everybody. Hello. Yes, you can applaud. Absolutely. It is spring, it's sunshine, it's March, we are in Berlin, and that means ITB 2025 is about to start, ladies and gentlemen. For the official welcome and for our official press conference, I welcome you dearly here in the Marshall House at Messe Berlin. It's great as it is the signal and the sign, oh yes, ITB 2025 is about to start. We are getting ready for travel-packed days in the upcoming days for ITB 2025. And ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues from the press, of course, it's the official press conference for you, so please feel free and submit your questions already online via itb.com, and that means also a warm welcome to you, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching us in our live stream, and of course for you here in the room in the Marshall House. You are more than invited, of course, to ask your questions to our speakers. After our press conference, of course, you will have the opportunity for your one-on-one interviews. And if you are in need for a translation of German to English or English to German, please feel free to use the devices here on the left-hand side. And with that, a warm welcome again to you for our ITB conference, press conference. And for the official welcome, I welcome here now on stage, and of course for some ITB Berlin highlights, I welcome the CEO of Messe Berlin. So please give him a warm applause to Dr. Mario Tobias. Good morning. I come here to that side, so you will have the lectern just in a minute for yourself. But before I leave you to that corner, ITB is always all about traveling.
It is.
So I would love to ask you, do you already know your travel destination, or are you also a little bit on the discovery hunt for destinations, for ideas, for inspiration in the next days?
Absolutely. I think there's no such other side on the world where you get so many impressions and, well, good ideas for your next travel. So I want to see so much, but I believe after this 1 week, there's even more on my bucket list.
We hope so. Stage is yours. Dr. Mario Tobias.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this press conference for the ITB 2025. It's good to have you all here in person and online. A very warm welcome to Berlin. We do the press conference here in the beautiful Marshall House just opposite the Summer Garden, and we believe that this historic event is just the right place for this press conference to take part. I would like to welcome some special guests, or esteemed guests. First of all, Edi Rama, the Prime Minister of Albania, the host country of 2025. Also, the Senior Vice President Content of Focusrite, the leading voice in the global travel research, Mitra Sorels. Welcome to you as well. And Norbert Fiebig, the President of the German Travel Association, playing a key figure in shaping the German travel industry. Welcome, Norbert Fiebig. ITB has actually always been more than just a trade show. It is the global hub where the world of travel comes to life. This year, under the theme, The World of Travel Lives Here in Berlin at ITB. We reaffirm our commitment to fostering intercultural exchange and industry collaboration. In a world facing numerous challenges on geopolitics, on wars, on climate change and economic struggles, it is more important than ever that we come here as one industry and discuss on this very platform. ITB definitely provides this platform to exchange know-how, drive innovation, and create the best sustainable future solutions. So this is where the world of travel truly lives here in Berlin. With 5,800 exhibitors representing more than 170 countries, we are fully booked. And that's a great success to our team. Thanks, Debbie, and everyone who took part in this. ITB 2025 reflects the optimism and the growth of the global travel industry. And we do see booming regions and the demand in many regions of this world, just like Southern Europe, Asia, the Middle East, also Africa, and as well as surge interest in travel technologies, in cruise tourism and responsible travel tourism solutions. This year, ITB welcomes a mix of newcomers as well as returning exhibitors, showcasing the full spectrum of global tourism. Some key highlights I would like to mention. The cruise industry is stronger than ever, with major players just like AIDA, Disney, MSC, or Royal Caribbean. The travel technology is taking the center stage when it comes to AI-driven solutions, and companies such as Visa or Stripe are joining ITB 2025. The Asia Hall in Hall 26 is fully booked with increased representations from Thailand, from China, from Vietnam, and Mongolia. The Arabian world makes a huge statement with Egypt, Morocco, and Saudi Arabia to become one of the largest exhibitors here in Berlin. And of course, Albania, our host country, who will have a statement with all senses in Hall 3.1 and 4.1, and you will be highlighting what there will be to see over the next couple of days. The global USP of ITB Berlin, of course, is the participation of 1,300 buyers, top buyers, carefully selected from the industry, decision makers with a significant purchasing power. They all meet here in the ITB buyer circle, so you get the right demand for your high-quality business connections, and this will be fulfilled here. This year, we are introducing several new tools and new event formats designed to enhance the ITB experience, improve an even deeper insight into the industry. For example, the advanced matchmaking tool, Match and Meet, ensures that the participants connect with the right business partners, and by now we already have more than 56,000 perfect matches. So this shows that we are a real B2B platform. The new ITB Navigator serves as an information platform. The relocation of the Home of Luxury just across the Summer Garden and the Palais at the Funkturm moves to bring the luxury travel segment closer to the ITB buyer circle. And additionally, we're launching the guided trade visitor tours and the ITB Talent Hub, because we believe it's very important to connect the young professionals with the industry in times of the demand of skilled people. In cooperation with A3M Global Monitoring, ITB Berlin for the very first time conducted a survey on the experiences and perceptions of the LGBTQ+ traveler community, and we're very interested about the results coming up there. The street food market expanded, and for the first time, together with the Berlin public transport, it will be possible to share a full ticket that will cover all of the Messe Berlin, so it makes it even easier and more sustainable with this. A very important part, of course, is the ITB Berlin Convention, the world's largest leading travel think tank, with more than 400 experts in 200 sessions across 17 different tracks. I believe that's quite an impressive number. And the theme of this year, the power of transition, lives here at ITB Berlin, reflects that the tourism industry's rapid evolution in terms of digitalization, sustainability challenges, but also about the shifting expectations of many travelers. So this is what we will be focusing on. For instance, there are several exciting new tracks and highlights: the ITB Transition Labs, the ITB Travelers and Tourism Radar, the Corporate Culture Clash tracks, and also we will be live streaming via the ITB Navigator for the very first time all the tracks from the ITB convention stages. So it will be possible to watch it live and also be broadcasting to ensure the global accessibility of our issues. Just to name some more highlights, for instance, we have the Future track with insights from Euromonitor, Focusrite. Mitra is joining us, UN Tourism and WTTC, and they will be talking on the state of global tourism. We have the Marketing and Distribution track with Greg Schulze from Expedia Group, who will give an insight into their discussion and empower partnerships in shaping the future of travel. The Tour Operators and Sales track with Christoph Debus from Dare2 to give an insight to their strategic priorities. And of course, and we're really happy about that, we have the ITB Tourism Ministers Summit that is organized by UN Tourism with more than 35 global tourism ministers from all over the world, and they will be discussing on the investments and sustainable developments and global goals. We also have an AI track, for instance, with Google latest AI developments when it comes to the travel industry. We have very renowned companies here, including Microsoft, and TUI, Sabre Hospitality, Sideminder, Ryanair, Louvre Hotel Group, Viator, Muse, and many, many others. So we believe that the ITB Berlin Convention will be the ultimate think tank for the whole of our industry. Since its debut in 2023, the ITB Innovators has become a major platform for cutting-edge travel technologies. And in 2025, over 35 groundbreaking innovations will be seen and will be showcased here. For instance, AI-powered hotel management systems and automated travel assistance and revenue management tools, smart mobility solutions, and also, for instance, from Albania, on sustainable agritourism projects that you can find in Albania. Before I conclude, I would like to take a moment to highlight our host country, Albania, for this year in 2025. On a very personal note, I had the pleasure to meeting you, Mirella, and Edi Rama in August in Tirana, and it was a beautiful stay, and it was a beautiful visit, and I know I have to come back for much longer time to experience also the beautiful landscape and the ancient sites and the new resorts you have. But you told me one word, and you not just told it to me, but we could really feel it, and that was Albanity. And he said that's the perfect combination of Albania and hospitality. And all of our delegation, we said, it's not just a word, it's really there what you can feel, as you say, with all senses. So thanks again for this, for the great hospitality we could experience the last year. So we do feel very honored, and this is how I want to conclude, that His Excellency the Prime Minister is here today, and he will give an even better vision about Albania in a minute. For now, I'm looking forward to 3 very, very exciting days with a lot of talks, dynamic exchange of ideas and presentations. And while we are looking forward to these 3 interesting days, I encourage you, the journalists from all over the world and online, to mark in your calendars the day after tomorrow, Wednesday, the 5th of March at 10 o'clock here at the Marshall House, because we will make a major announcement, because ITB, the brand family, is growing. And we are revealing an exciting expansion into a very new market that I will not talk about today, but on Wednesday morning here at the same stage. So stay tuned, and we're looking forward to have 3 wonderful days of ITB together with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. What a cliffhanger and a spoiler. But we travel now to Albania. Albania is the host country of ITB Berlin 2025, and we are so honored to have him here, the Prime Minister of Albania, His Excellency, Mr. Edi Rama. But before we have him here on stage, we will see him now on screen.
Hello, I'm Edi Rama, Prime Minister of Albania. Möchten Sie wissen, warum sich die Zahl der Touristen in Albanien in den letzten 10 Jahren verzehnfacht hat? Lassen Sie mich es Ihnen zeigen. Comienza con playas como esta, aguas cristalinas, costas vírgenes y atardeceres que nunca olvidarás. Ensuite, il y a les montagnes brutes, sauvages et parfaites pour les amateurs d'aventure. Et les amoureux de la nature également. 私たちの歴史は古代の章からユネスコの世界遺産まで全ての時に生きています。En onze steden, wauw. Levendig, dynamisch, vol levensmaken en mensen die je verwelkomen als een echte familie. And if I suddenly sound like I speak your language perfectly, well, that's just a little AI magic. But trust me, Albania's charm, it's 100% real. Deshalb hat der Tourismus in Albanien so stark zugenommen und es hört nicht auf. Denn hier besuchen Sie nicht nur, Sie entdecken, Sie erleben, Sie verbinden sich und hören Sie nicht nur davon. 自分の目で確かめに来てください。アルバニア、思っていたのとは違います。もっとたくさんあります。Discover Albania beyond expectations. Albania, it's all the senses. Thank you very much. It's a true pleasure to be here in an event that until only a few years ago would be hard to imagine for us. And also it's a true pleasure to bring you some sun today from Albania, because to host this fair under the gray sky of Berlin would be a blasphemy. And of course, it's a great pleasure to quote here one of the largest media outlets in Germany, Bild, which in not far past, reserved to us not very kind reports, saying Albania is no longer an unknown destination. It is set to become a trending hotspot for sun seekers and beach lovers in 2025. But there is more than that. Based on the United Nations chart of tourism, Albania is by far the fastest growing touristic destination in the world, and we also have the fastest growing airport in Europe by far, while we are seeing finally also the German tourists coming. Someone told me some years ago that the day the German tourists will come to Albania, this will be the moment that your progress will be irreversible. I said, how so? And he said, because the German tourists are the most stubborn in first trying to understand where they are going, which didn't surprise me because I know how it goes with Germans. But then, once they come, they will be there as a very, very strong testimony of a change. And practically, we are very happy to see the figures of the German tourists growing from some couple of dozen of thousands until not many years ago to 374,000 last year. And of course, we are very ambitious about getting more and more German tourists. On the other hand, I want to tell you that meanwhile, international visitors expended a total of 4.5 billion in Albania during 2023. This figure increased in 4.8 billion in 2024. And for a country with just around 25 billion of GDP in euros, you can understand how important and how big is this number. But I don't want to take more of your time with this speech, because I guess there is some question and answers afterwards, right? So I don't want to spoil the German clock, which is quite difficult to be integrated in our Balkan way of conversing. So I'm trying to be as good as possible of a host here in Berlin. If you would be in Albania, I could keep you for hours listening to what I have to say, but here it's a different story. So, and also considering the moment you are passing through in this country, it's not a good idea to make you more nervous. So I'm stopping here by just giving you very simple data to let you understand from where we come from. So we were North Korea of Europe in our lifetime. And we were grown-ups when our airports had few thousand passengers per year. And all these few thousands had to be Marxist-Leninist to enter our country. And I'm talking until 1990. And from our angle of the world, DDR was not a communist country. It was just the other side of the same medal. And we were totally isolated from the whole Europe, West and East. But because we went through something nobody in the former communist Europe went through, the Chinese connection and the cultural revolution, we in Albania couldn't have a beard. And in the airport, there was a barber shop. So for the tourists with a beard, and they were Marxist-Leninists, by the way, it was impossible to enter without going through the barber. And I'm not kidding. So Karl Marx could not enter Marxist Albania without shaving first. Today, our last figure from 2024 is 11 million passengers crossing Tirana airport, outnumbering Belgrade, the big historical regional airport of the Balkans, in number of passengers for the third year in a row. And for several years, we are on top 3 in the World Tourism Organization chart, together with Saudi Arabia and Qatar as the fastest growing destinations. But we didn't have World Cup, and we either have Mecca. So if we exclude these 2 factors, I believe we are like once upon Germany in World Cup, so number 1. Thank you very much, and I look forward to answer every question you have in all senses. Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency. Thank you. And we will see you, of course, on stage in a second. So as you already see, a lot of topics will be discussed in the upcoming days during ITB. Let's dive into some data now when it comes to European country-level data, the research on Gen AI use and the social media use for travel. And for that, I welcome warmly here on stage the Senior Vice President for Content of Focusrite, Ms. Mitra Sorrells.
Thank you so much, Katie. I am so delighted to be here to represent Focusrite, a brand of North Star Travel Group. And I, like many of you, have spent most of my career as a journalist, so I'm going to start with some of our headlines. So travel remains healthy and is outpacing global GDP, but the growth rates are slowing a bit and normalizing post-pandemic. For consumers, travel remains a core priority, and intent to travel in the future remains very strong. New technologies are creating an environment that is ripe for entrepreneurs, but funding remains hard to secure. Generative AI is permeating all parts of our lives, and potential for it to transform travel is huge. And as AI agents become integrated into everything we do, we will also need verifiable digital ID in order for them to take action on our behalf. So let's begin what the market looks like from a size perspective with some of the data from our Focal Point Interactive Database. This is showing the value in US dollars of global gross bookings across air, hotel, cruise, car rental, package travel, and rail. 2023 was the year that we eclipsed pre-pandemic numbers, and we have been continuing to grow ever since then, albeit at a slower rate. By 2027, we predict that the market will be approaching $2 trillion in gross bookings. From a regional perspective, these are our estimates of shares of gross bookings for this year. Asia is still below its pre-pandemic levels, as it was one of the last regions to fully open after COVID. And in the coming years, we expect to see most of the growth in some of the markets in the Middle East and Latin America, and of course, Albania, and a slowdown a bit in some of the markets here in Europe and in North America. The Middle East and Latin America also have the highest percentage of bookings still taking place offline, but everywhere around the world there's an opportunity to migrate to digital channels, and we believe that will only accelerate in coming years as AI tools continue to mature and really are able to be used to simplify the planning of even very complex trips. Some data points from our most recent European consumer research. The number of people traveling and the amount they are spending has been trending up in recent years, in part due to an increase in room rates and transportation costs. Trip frequency is also up, averaging 3 to 4 trips per year. And despite ongoing geopolitical issues and concerns about inflation, consumers continue to want to travel. When we ask them how they prioritize their discretionary spending, travel consistently rates the highest, ahead of categories such as fashion, entertainment, health, and beauty. And the majority of people who traveled in the last year intend to travel in the year ahead. When planning those trips, more and more people are turning to social media, particularly as digital natives become a larger part of the traveling population. For brands, this creates an incredible opportunity for using these platforms for marketing, but consumers are smart, and that means brands and destinations have to be even smarter about how they're using social media to stand out. For European travelers, Facebook and Instagram are two of the most commonly used platforms for travel planning. In the survey we are doing this year, we are also asking about usage of Reddit and YouTube because we know that those are growing in popularity, particularly among younger travelers as platforms for tips and reviews as they're planning their trips. And in fact, in the US, we find that YouTube is on par with Facebook and Instagram. Sustainability, such an important topic and still such a challenge. We know from our research that consumers say they care about over-tourism and climate change, but many don't still understand what sustainable travel really means, and most don't see it as their personal responsibility, in part because they feel they don't travel enough to make a difference. Here in Europe, our research last year found that when it comes to paying extra to support sustainable practices, generally travelers are most willing to pay for meals with locally sourced ingredients, as opposed to paying a premium for other things, such as eco-friendly lodging, flying an airline that uses sustainable aviation fuels, or using local tour guides. Let's talk funding. Focusrite's Travel Startups Interactive Database tracks about 8,000 startups around the world. Total funding in 2024 came in at $5.7 billion. That was slightly ahead of 2023, but still much lower than prior years. And the number of funding rounds was also the lowest in a decade. So the question is why? The slowdown in VC activity in the last couple of years is not specific to travel, it's really a macro trend. And it's similar with acquisitions, which peaked in 2022 and have fallen sharply since then. We anticipate that as inflation tames, as company valuations reset, and hopefully as interest rates continue to come down, we will see more capital coming into the investment ecosystem this year. And despite the relatively low total numbers last year, there were some very large funding rounds and acquisitions, as you can see by these headlines of our coverage on FocusWire. Notice that most of these are European companies. This region has been a hotbed for deal making. And we need to keep in mind that in the coming years, travel startup investing may transform as generative AI really shifts how companies operate and how much capital they need to do so. One big question with generative AI is, of course, do consumers even want to use it for travel? And if so, how? Our research has found that travel is a top use case for people using tools such as ChatGPT and Perplexity. While travelers ages 18 to 34 are the most frequent users of generative AI for a variety of use cases, we find that those ages 35 to 54 are the most heavy users for travel use cases. And past users express even more interest in using it in the future, which tells us that they are very happy with the results. But we know generative AI isn't perfect, and so do consumers. So top of their list for improvements as related to travel include the ability to find deals, the inclusion of live prices, and the ability to actually make bookings. And all of these things are getting better and closer every day. In fact, the most read recent news story on FocusWire was covering the debut of OpenAI's Operator Agent, and explained how the company has partnered with brands such as Booking.com and Priceline so that the agent can search and complete a booking. And as you can see, there are many other efforts to integrate generative AI technology across hotels, airlines, OTAs, content sites, and more. And there's no doubt that this is the year AI agents will become much more common, much more refined, and much more effective. So at Focusrite, we are really thinking about what this will mean when at least some of the customers coming to travel sites are not human, and when we have agents talking to agents to search and complete a booking. AI can certainly boost efficiency, for example, for customer service with a chatbot, but what might it mean for marketing and selling when agents are shopping on our behalf and when they don't really care how attractive a website is? And how can digital ID, which of course is on the verge of launching here in Europe, help to create trust for agents as they are taking actions on our behalf? You can scan this QR code to learn more about a series of events that we will be hosting on some of these topics. The first one will be taking place on March 20th. And finally, I would like to personally invite all of you to join me and my Focusrite colleagues and many esteemed speakers at Focusrite Europe, June 10th to 12th in Barcelona. Scan this QR code for details about the event and a discount to register. Our theme is the new agents, and we will really be looking at our focus on the new age of travel, the emergence of agents, and really what it means for the industry, from airlines to hotels to online travel agencies and more. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mitra.
Thank you.
Let's take another 2 minutes, because of course there are so many keywords in the room now, and I'd like to dive into some of them with you. When we talk about AI agents, of course everybody is talking about artificial intelligence and AI agents, but when it comes to travel and tourism brands, not just the 65% that are looking for new ideas with artificial intelligence, but really the question on how can travel and tourism brands then adapt to this rise of AI-driven search?
Yeah,
what is important, you know?
This is the big question, and to be honest, I think it's still very much in development as people are trying to understand what this means. We hear the term GEO instead of SEO. It's generative engine optimization. I think certainly one of the things that we are hearing from a lot of the search marketing experts is that it comes down to having content that really answers the queries that your audience is going to be asking. And they're asking in a much longer natural language format. So having that kind of content is going to be critical to stand out, and certainly potentially partnering with some of the brands and the platforms that are really developing all of these solutions.
So understanding both ends, the results, but also the prompting in that regard. That's
exactly.
from what I take from you. Yeah, digital ID, that was also a keyword that you mentioned. So when it comes to the technology of digital ID, how can it simplify and enhance also the travel experience for both sides? You know, one side the traveler, but also when we look into the service provider side.
Yeah, I think this is one of the things that excites me the most. I think the idea of a secure, verifiable credential, where I own my identity and I can determine which suppliers I want to share it with in the moment, and I no longer have to set up a different identity for Booking.com and Expedia and my hotel and my airline, and I can simply, with one click potentially, share exactly what I want to share about my preferences. I think it's going to create incredible opportunities to streamline the travel experience. And on the supplier side, as you ask, and for destinations, I think it will also just add efficiency for them and the ability to have much more personalization. So this is something we're really watching, and I think with the launch here in the EU next year of a digital wallet for everyone, it's going to really accelerate what we see happening there.
Plus, on top, it sounds very relaxing then to just have one ID.
No,
right?
because we're different at different times of our travel, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Well, and then you mentioned, of course, Gen Z, which is also a very important topic when it comes to the travel force and the travel spending forces and as it grows. From your side, what key preferences do you observe and what should the industry focus on when it comes to the expectation from the Gen Z side?
Yeah, it's very interesting. So, you know, of course, the older section of the Gen Z is now approaching 30 years old, and they have a lot of spending power, and they love to travel. So it is very important, I think, to pay attention. Some of the things that we have found through our research and our surveys is traditional loyalty programs don't seem to resonate quite as well or as powerfully with this demographic than some of the older generations. Certainly social media is critical and is only going to become more important in their search and booking process, so I think being present on these platforms is really critical. And then one of our recent surveys that we've just done in the US, looking at short-term rentals and hotels, very interestingly, we found out that Gen Z and some of the younger millennials actually show a preference for a stay in a hotel over a short-term rental as far as when they're asked to rate their experience. And that may come down to cost and fees and some of those issues. It's something we're taking a closer look at, but certainly an interesting trend to watch.
Interesting detail. Thank you. Mitras and Rels, thank you.
Thank you so
much.
much.
Thank you very much. Times are challenging, of course, but the travel passion, especially for Germans, remain, as we are learning. And for that, I welcome now the president of the German Travel Association, Mr. Norbert Fiebig. Thank you. The stage is yours.
Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome from my side as well. And please allow me to kick off with the good news. As in the last years, travel remains at the top of Germans' priority list when it comes to down to expenditures. Even better, despite all the economic and geopolitical challenges, Germans are traveling, and they are traveling a lot. My fellow countrymen and women are not willing to save on their vacations, and that is a very good positive fact to our industry. As already last year, the travel enthusiasm among Germans was clearly noticeable. Even though the overall number of trips in tourism in the year 23-24 decreased by 1%, the pre-booking expenditures, on the other hand side, increased by 6%, reaching over 83 billion euros. Compared to pre-corona times, we witnessed an impressive growth of 20%. The organized travel market, which includes package tours and linked travel arrangements offered by tour operators and travel agency, is developing particularly strongly. It is growing faster than the individual bookings. In total, nearly 40 billion euros, an increase of 7% were spent in this sector. As a result, organized travel is now nearly on par with privately planned and arranged holidays. So what can we, ladies and gentlemen, what can we expect from 2025? When it comes to the overall consumer confidence in Germany, we see, unfortunately, there is a lack of demand. Our general economic situation surely can be improved on. People are skeptical concerning the economic development, expecting incomes to swing and are less willing to spend. Savings are increasing. However, for the travel industry, we see the continuation of last year's growth. According to YouGov surveys, almost a quarter of Germans plan to spend even more on vacations and travel this year. So our expectations for the upcoming seasons are high. And ladies and gentlemen, the trend towards early bird bookings remain ongoing. Even so, more people are making their holiday choice even earlier in 2025 than in previous years. By the end of January, the revenue concerning the coming summer vacation surpassed the level of 2024 by 11%. The early bookers have arrived to stay. Or put it in a different way, booking early is a new last minute. Especially encouraging, the demand for package tours is steadily rising. Compared to the previous year, 6% more people have booked a vacation with a tour operator and opt for the well-protected classic package tour, including transportation, in most cases, including flights. Let's have a look at the most popular holiday destinations for the upcoming summer season as of end of January. Spain and Turkey are leading the list regarding booking revenues, closely followed by Greece. So the Germans' last year's favorites will most probably rank at this year's most loved again. To note the biggest revenue increases compared to last summer, we've seen somewhere else, in Egypt and Albania. Congratulations to this year's host country for the ITB. Both countries are showing an impressive increase of 36%. I'm particularly pleased about Albania, as you can imagine. Not long ago, I had the privilege and the pleasure of visiting the country with a delegation of the German travel industry and experiencing the tremendous tourism potential firsthand. And I'm confident there is still more to come. A key driver, ladies and gentlemen, on the travel market in 2025 is cruising once again. Almost a fifth of the summer revenue from organized trips comes from vacation on board of cruise vessels. Revenue is up by 14% and the number of travelers has increased even by 18%. People love cruises. The prices have even dropped slightly, boosting demand accordingly. Please allow me to make some assumptions on the upcoming summer season. Germans' general economic challenges and worries about income are going to be reflected in the choice of travel destinations. Traditionally, more affordable destinations such as Bulgaria or Tunisia are gaining popularity again, as well as Egypt, where the price growth remains below average. The Germans' love of travel is a major advantage for our industry. This key factor enables us to look forward with optimism. And yes, our data confirms that we can expect revenue growth across the entire travel market at a rate of 6%. A strong signal to our industry. A week ago, ladies and gentlemen, we held our national elections in Germany. We hope that the negotiations on the formation of a future government will proceed swiftly. Most importantly, our industry needs stability and predictability. Without the right economic policy, consumer sentiment will continue to falter, with consequences for all of us. Our expectations concerning future-oriented tourism policy on national as well as, even more important, European level can be outlined. International travel and outbound tourism require favorable regulatory settings. International travel is a crucial economic factor. Over-regulation and distortions of competition, foremost at EU level, must be prevented. Germany's aviation sector has to keep its competitive edge. Air transportation is the central pillar to our industry. Therefore, future government should reduce duties and taxes to keep air travel affordable. We are confident that future travel should aim at achieving net zero emissions. However, we must take note that the sustainable fuels for air and sea transportation are still in very short supply. Ladies and gentlemen, decisive action is needed here. This challenge goes beyond the national borders. It requires a solution on a multinational level. Governments, together with the industry, must set the right impulses now, not sometimes in the future, so that at least in the medium term, enough sustainable and affordable fuel will be available. Before I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to briefly address the political developments and worrying events we most recently witnessed. I sincerely hope that the impending shifts in the world order will be less disruptive on the international community than currently feared. If nothing else, these latest developments must serve as a final wake-up call for Europe to create an alliance of unity and strength. Ladies and gentlemen, despite all the economic and political challenges, we must not forget one thing. Travel is much more than just an economic factor. Our industry stands internationally for openness, for cultural exchange, for diversity, for hospitality, and last but not least, for tolerance. Travel connects the world, and we are deeply committed to keeping it that way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Norbert Fiebig. Don't run away. I will need you on stage because we will have now time for questions. And also to my other panelists, to Mitra Souls, His Excellency, and also Mari Tobias. Please join me here on stage. And now it's time, of course, for your questions. Ladies and gentlemen, we have microphones here in the room, but also please submit your questions through itb.com, not the ITB Navigator. You need to submit your questions through the landing page on itb.com. This is just a little clarification detail. Well, again, thanks for being here. Do I have any questions already in the room? I see one hand, just to get a little bit of an overview. Okay. We start with you in a second. The microphone is coming to you. I see one question online. While you received the microphone, this question goes to the CEO, to Mario. Tobias, will the ITB Berlin continue to be a B2B trade show, and If so, why?
Yeah, we've been talking to the exhibitors. It was a very clear signal from the exhibitors to purely focusing on the B2B customers. So it will stay like this.
It will stay like this. Okay, this is a very clear, precise answer. Thank you very much. And now up to you. Wonderful. Thanks for being here. Who are you? What is your media outlet? And then what is your question, of course?
My name is Stefan Zöflo. I'm from Switzerland. I don't like to speak English, to be honest. I like more to speak Schweizerdeutsch.
Schweizerdeutsch. Well, this is a bit hard to translate
Yes,
for our translators.
but the point is really, we have to accept in an international conference with terrible language called English, yes, who has not really, how should I say, something like a history with just for the commerce. But now, let's go to my question.
Oh, yeah.
Very important for Albania is the bus tourism also, because people can ride by bus. And now I listen that only the airports are increasing. And the airport is not sustainability. And I think a bus is much better. And so I want to ask him, what do you think about the landline, and what do you think about Italy's to ferries with Italy's and all this stuff, but you have more sustainability.
Yeah, more
and
sustainable travel.
And when I think also we should make our vacations longer. We should, if we go to Albania, we should explore Europe. We shouldn't take any more vacations for 7 days. We should abolish it.
We stay the whole summer. So maybe
we should
ask His
stay the whole
Excellency.
summer in Europe. We should make it, and I
Yes.
think we should do something against this always flying by planes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your question. So the question is directed, of course, to His Excellency. Two different shades of the question. One question comes to sustainability and how you approach
Thank you, and
sustainability destination.
sorry to answer in this
But
terrible
also bus
language
travel.
that you mention English, because I don't know your wonderful language, and which sounds as terrible as the worst noise to me when I happen to hear it, but I'm sure it has its musicality when you speak it to your fellow citizens of Switzerland. Yeah, I think there is a point, but I want to make another point to come to your point. We have today, as we speak, one of the largest national parks in the world, I believe, because it's among the very rare, if not the only, national park that crosses the whole country. And this is the national park of the Vjosa River. The Vjosa River was discovered by the Western eco-friendly citizens to be the last wild river in Europe. And so they jumped on us to protect it, while we were already very, very much looking forward to protect it. What is my point? My point is that after having tamed all your rivers, you wanted our river to be wild. And so after having developed in all the ways you want us to develop only in the way you think is feasible. But I told you a bit of the history, so don't ask Albanians to stop seeking an airplane, because we have been stopped from looking at an airplane for half a century. So when you were flying and enjoying flights, we were just walking around our own country, turned in a prison. And to end with the answer, yes, I'm very, very convinced that as it is happening today, it will grow more with a lot of Swiss, a lot of German, a lot of Israeli, a lot of Northern Europe tourists coming to us for the beauty of the mountains, for the incredible pleasure of the hiking, for the beauty of a lot of other adventures, like in the the rafting in the rivers. So Albania has for everyone a place. It's a very small country, but unlike Switzerland, is more diverse. And so we have what Switzerland has, but imagine if in Switzerland you had also what the Mediterranean has. You would be really, unmatchable. So we will be unmatchable sooner more than later because we have Switzerland, we have Mediterranean, we have everything a human being wants, and we have it in a very small distance. So it's 28,000 kilometers, but with the largest diversity. 2 seas, 9 rivers, a lot of mountains, a lot of valleys, many lakes, and also, like the cherry on the dessert, the Albanians. Unique.
Thank you. Well, we go on with the next question.
And we are never boring like
Please,
the
His
Swiss.
Excellency. Excuse me, you need to use the microphone because otherwise I can't.
You are a journalist or you are a protester? I don't understand.
Okay.
Please,
Yes.
I expect a very concrete
my
question.
question was also about the land
I
transport.
I
and what
answered
are you doing
yes,
here?
we are.
Thank you very much. Bye.
It's coming slowly and steadily, so step by step. For the moment, we are very much eager to occupy the skies, then
Okay.
the land. For the land, we welcome you to occupy.
I see another question over there, and then I saw another hand. Just to give me an overview, how many hands do I still need to cover here? 1, 2, okay. Please tell us who you are and what's your concrete question.
My name is Amit Kotler. I'm from Passport News in Israel, the leading travel media outlet of Israel. My question is for Your Excellency, Mr. Prime Minister. During the war, you expressed significant care and interest in the Middle East and the war crisis. At the same time, you stood very strong and vocal by Israel. You even shared an Israeli ad for a new airline that is coming to Tirana this year on your social media. So first of all, we're extremely thankful for that, for your voice. Israelis are in love with Greece. Will Albania become the new Greece? And if so, how do you move the tourists from there to your country? And what other steps Albania needs to take? Thank you very much.
Yes, His Excellency.
I have to tell you, we don't complain about others being in love with others. But you should know, if you don't yet, and everyone should know, that we, Albania, were the only country in Europe after the Second World War to have more Jews than before. And we have a clean sheet record with no single Jew, not one, handled to the Nazis. And this is recognized also by the State of Israel. And Albania has been given the Good Among Nations title. And the great thing was that mostly of the Jews protectors were Muslims. And there are only 2 names, Jewish names, that appear in the lists of extermination in the Bergen-Belsen camp. They were not Jews, they were Albanians. Because when the Nazis went to take these 2 Jewish people with these names in a house, the old man asked them to wait because he would handle them peacefully, and he handled them, his 2 sons, to protect the 2 Jews. Because what you mentioned as Albanity is something that is very, very deeply rooted, and that's why we are the best country also for tourists, because we have in our first constitution, common law, a very, very important sentence. the house of the Albanian belongs to God and the guest. So every guest represents God. So if you want to feel how God feels, come to Albania. If you want to look up and think that even taxi drivers are gods, go to Greece. But if you want to feel like God, you have to come to Albania. And we are very much looking forward to have as many Jews as possible.
Thanks.
And I know that for us it's only love, for you is also money. But better come to Albania, you'll save more than in Greece. And you will have everything you have in Greece, and with a lot of pluses.
Thank you, His Excellency. I go on with another online question to Norbert Fiebig. You highlighted some countries that are rising stars. That's quoted from the question, are there any destinations where you still see untapped potential?
Fact is that our clients are getting more and more price sensitive. I was mentioning that countries with an excellent price-value relation, such as the countries of Northern Africa, such as Tunisia, Egypt, but also Bulgaria are gaining at the very moment. Destinations being more or less untapped. The area in Central Asia at the moment is very much in the focus of clients being interested in cultural tours, so such as Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan. There is something going at the moment, and I believe there is some more potential. But also India, for example, I believe there is still more room to maneuver, and that these countries will attract the German source market and the German clients in the future. I'm very convinced of that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Do we have more questions? Yes, the gentleman here in the third row, please. Tell us who you are and tell us your concrete question.
My name is Kojo Williams from Voyage Afrique. My question is to Mario. When you spoke about the highlights, I didn't hear you mention Sub-Saharan Africa, so if you can throw some light on it, that would be good. And then for Norbert, the German market is a core market in Africa, as well. As part of the summer travel plan, is it part of their plans to Sub-Saharan Africa beyond Southern Africa?
Mm-hmm. I start with Norbert, and then I go to Mario, talking and zooming in a little bit into sub-Saharan context, different sub-Saharan travel destinations. Yeah.
So especially South Africa is very much on the list of the most beloved destinations to the Germans, especially in the winter season. The flights are all packed, and it has a great attraction to the Germans, but also the neighboring countries such as Namibia, as well as Botswana. So the Germans love game tours, seeing wildlife in a combination maybe with sun and beach. So Tanzania, for example, offers great wildlife in combination, for example, with Zanzibar, spending a week to relax at the beach. So Africa, especially the southern area of Africa, is very much in the focus and beloved by the Germans.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for clarifying Southern Africa, Namibia, Botswana, and Tanzania, all this little coastline, what you mentioned, but different countries. Mario, zooming in into the ITB context, what do we need to know?
Thank you so much. There's nothing more to add. Just if you want to visit most of the African states, come to Hall 21. It's really impressive. We have, as a newcomer, Djibouti. They're there for the very first time. It's very interesting. We're really looking forward to this. You will see, as Norbert mentioned, a lot from adventure travel to cultural travel to beautiful cities and landscapes, walking the mountains, seeing the wildlife over there. So Hall 21, it's all about Africa.
That's the place to be. Alors, merci pour la question. Thank you very much for your question. I don't see any. I see one more hand here, over there. Thank you. Who are you, and what is your concrete question?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Andreas Scholz, freelance aviation journalist. Your Excellency, you stress that aviation is very important to Albania. So what are the government's plan even to stimulate more aviation or airline services coming into Albania? Incentives or what you've got in your list?
Thank you so much. First of all, we are very soon opening a new airport, and by the way, it will be managed by the Munich airports. So we strongly believe that there is room for more, because our capital airport, as I said, is the fastest growing airport in Europe by far, but it's already too crowded. So imagine 11 million passengers in a country with 2.4 million residents. It's huge. And the new airport will open this year more south, and will practically respond to the needs for tourists going through in the Ionian Sea and in our southeast, where there is a lot to see and visit, and where also top-notch five-star resorts are in the way to be developed. We have also another airport north, which is a small one, and we are planning a fourth, very, very south, practically in front of Corfu, because there is a lot of saturation in the Corfu airport, and we realize that there is big demand and need also to have a small seasonal airport in the very south. On the other hand, we have a lot of airlines coming, and more to come. We are now in talks with the Federal Aviation in the United States for the direct flight with the United States. And soon we'll have, I very much hope, Qatar Airways. We are having also flights from Saudi Arabia and the Emirates. So more or less, when you want to come to Albania, there are many ways. And we have also a very cheap airport. It was very expensive years ago, but now it's a very cheap airport. So it's very, very accessible. A lot of people from the region come to Albania, to Tirana, to take the flights in Tirana. And practically is the only airport in the region that is 24/7. During summer, there is no moment of stop. While there is we have put there one of the most advanced passport checking operation that has made possible that you don't have to stay in line. It's totally digital, and it has been one of the first airports in Europe to have this kind of check-in. With it's a manless check-in. Just you put a passport and you enter. So this is a bit the picture I'm giving you. We have also our flagship airline, which is still small, but we are ambitious to make it grow also.
I'm very German here again, pushing a little bit towards the clock because we have one more question.
Never invite men from Balkan when you need to stick to the clock. It's a very bad idea.
I keep that in mind.
So invite Germans, and then you have the clock before the people.
Ladies and gentlemen, we turn to one last online question. Mitra, because I don't want to skip you in that round, of course, but this question is directly going towards your expertise. Social media is reshaping marketing globally. Let us, in your thoughts, how do you think it will further influence the travel industry in the coming years? I mean, we touched upon it a little bit in your presentation. What can you add on?
Yeah, a few things come to mind that I would call out. First of all, in the last year, we saw Expedia Group launch what they call their travel shops, which is an opportunity for content creators, influencers, to sort of create a little storefront on Expedia where they can share their recommendations, and then people can actually book through that. And I call that out because I think that is something that we may start to see more of, is the opportunity to link what content people are seeing on social media with an actual booking. One of the things that we have found in our research as it relates to social media is that consumers are craving to see more content that feels a bit more realistic and aligned with their interests and with their budget. It's wonderful to see this very aspirational content, kind of, oftentimes a lot of it is very luxurious level. Consumers are saying, that's great, but I want to see things that are really more realistic for me. So I think we are going to see a bit more of that. And then finally, I would just mention, as it relates to social media, there are the challenges now with AI, because there's, skepticism and risk that pictures that someone may see are not real, that videos someone may see are not real. So I think that is something that is still going to be evolving in the coming years as to how that is handled.
It's an interesting future and interesting times we're living in, right? Norbert, do I see any more hands? Because, of course, I'd like to give you... You already had 2 questions. Is that okay if I then skip to the online question? One question. Okay, we have the microphone for you. Do you have one more hand or so? No? Okay. So then, please, again, your concrete question.
Okay. Our next question is to a lady of...
Focusrite?
Focusrite.
Mitra Sorel?
Yes, you spoke about the AI agent. And I think we should also think about not only social media. There is one platform which is called WikiVoyage, WikiTravel, which is user-based, one TripAdvisor, and one Google Business. And I think, what do you think about with channels from feeding with AI? Thank you very much.
I'm not sure I completely... The question is about channels feeding AI?
Is the question about how AI will feed these channels, or how these channels will feed AI to...
Okay, I make it a little bit longer.
Just a little bit clearer for us, because then...
Yes, I explain it a bit longer. There were some, how should I say, in Web 2.0, there was creating a program like WikiTravel and WikiVoyage, which was fed by people. And they are still actual, and where is the advantage that people can control it? When we have a very big company, which is called Google, who make Google Business, there's also a lot of user-based content in it, and when we have TripAdvisor. And so the question is really, I think they are also so much important as social media. What do you think about these platforms? Thank you very much.
Crystal clear.
My understanding is that this is kind of asking related to user-generated content versus content that may be controlled by some of the larger companies and platforms. And that's why I said this year we are certainly very interested to understand how something like Reddit is growing in interest among travelers, where we have a sense that, particularly among the younger generations, that there is a feeling they would much rather go to Reddit. They feel that that is more of an authentic review site versus, let's say, a TripAdvisor or something such as that. So we're going to see what we find in our surveys, but it's certainly an interesting topic. And there are many, many places now that different people go to get tips and ideas. So that will be evolving in the coming years.
Thank you very much. And with that, I think we are at the ending point here of our press conference. I don't see any more hands, no questions online. Quickly, Norbert, this one goes to you. We have another 30 seconds. Maybe. Despite economic challenges, Germans seem unwilling to cut back on travel. Do you still see a lingering post-pandemic travel rebound effect?
No, we don't see that anymore.
Okay.
As I mentioned, compared to pre-corona times, we had last year an increase of expenditures of 20%, and the number of people is nearly on the level we used to have in 2019. That was the last year before Corona. So we managed quite well to get back up and running.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Norbert Fiebig, Mitra Sorrells, His Excellency Dr. Mario Tobias, and we are so much looking forward to the opening ceremony, of course. Thank you, Albania, again, for being the host country. And, of course, thank you for joining this press conference, for joining here live on site. I know you have your one-on-one interviews, so you're going to run off in a second. But also thank you, ladies and gentlemen, in our live stream for being present, for submitting your question. And, as always, safe travels and have a wonderful ITB 2025. Thank you for coming.
Pleasure.
Yes.